appreciate you, and I see you, and also the being spoke to like that, having just gotten out of an abusive relationship. I think many of us can relate to that. I empathize. I see you. I want to change. I want to do better, and I'm 100% confident that we can mend this. And I'm getting excellent feedback on what I should do with those videos. When the sisters were in here earlier, should I delete them? Should I duet them myself and explain it? Should I make a new video with my screen grabs and acknowledge certain comments that I made without any excuses and explanations, but saying, this hurt people and I am not a person. Hurt people hurt people. I'm not a hurt person. I don't have to do that. There's no reason for me to do that. I have nothing to gain from being that way. And so I'm open to whatever way would be the best way to heal this. I don't need to be left to my own devices, and I'm open, and I want to know how to make this right. And I can only speak for myself right now.
Go ahead, Raven.
I am grateful for you coming here and standing up and standing in the center of this. I know that's really hard. It shows something about you that I hope a lot of the people here are appreciating. The work isn't done for any of us.
Not eating. LOL.
There is so much to be done, and I think that especially when it comes to the Indigenous community, like we are 180 degrees from the colonial community. And unfortunately, because America specifically is centered in a colonial worldview, it is so hard for anyone outside of our community who doesn't have the experience of an Indigenous culture. It's so hard to see through the lens that we see through. So even when we try to explain certain things, it still feels like we're not being heard. It still feels like we're not being understood. It still feels like, because of that lack of understanding, that we're being invalidated and dismissed, and therefore made completely unsafe and disrespected. And that's exactly what I saw happening in that live. What I see coming out of that post. And
okay,
I've tried to say it a million times. I don't carry any hate or ill will for anyone in this. Most importantly, the primary thing that I feel is increased disappointment and sadness because of how many people were hurt and harmed. I made a post like days before any of this started because of another situation, and I was asking, how big is your love? Because that's what we need back. There's all this conversation about land back in our community, but I really had to ask, how big is your love? Because that's what we need back. Our community we've been denied so much for so many reasons. And what I'm really looking for is people who are willing to lead with love. And I haven't seen that in the last several days.
I want to say something real quick before Blackbird responds. Moderators, we got to chill with the muting, because some of the people you guys muted by accident are Indigenous, and we don't want a repeat of what happened in Nuggets Live last night. So If you see anyone that is indigenous, please let them speak their opinions, even if it is something you don't agree with. Let them talk. Matter of fact, don't block anybody as long as they're not threatening anyone's lives or sitting here talking about anyone's kids or doxing anybody. Don't mute nobody. Let everyone speak their opinions on the live. Let them speak their opinions on the guest as long as it's not disrespectful. Please. I want to make sure that is heard. I know the moderators always look out for me because my moderators don't play over here. But I got the best moderators on planet Earth in the whole galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy is giving Root is giving Rocket Raccoon. I said what I said. I have the best fucking moderators in the world. But even sometimes they can make some mistakes. So please don't mute anyone who is indigenous at all. Please, just don't mute anybody unless they are being very disrespectful. We don't want a repeat of last night. I want everyone's opinions heard. Even if they don't agree with the live, even if they don't like the way it's handled, I want to make sure that their voices, I apologize, are heard. Please. I apologize, Blackbird. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Raven. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. Uh Things that I don't truly understand because again, how could I, right? And this is what we often say um when we tell our stories, that there or will just be people who don't understand. Miss Jones, you said that the things that you were saying was like a colonist mindset, and I think that also all people should understand that when people tell us our stories or they tell their stories, um, that there are people who tell us when we do it, no, you guys are just playing victim, or you guys are just over exaggerating, or you don't really know what you're talking about, right? And then for us to go and do those things is hurtful, you know. So I think it's good that you recognize that, and I really appreciate it. You know, I love you. You know, again, you always have a special place in my heart. And if anybody believes after this that Black women aren't strong, I don't know what to tell you, because the last time this happened to a white woman, we had the whole Wombland saga. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Child, don't
I'm
even
just
fucking remind
saying.
me. Listen.
I'm just saying. Look at the reaction of one and the reaction of another. So if anybody doesn't believe that Black women are not strong, I don't know what to tell you. The proof is in the goddamn pudding. All right. And Ms. Jones, I really do appreciate you for taking your accountability and coming up here and healing and listening. Obviously, it's not my apology to accept, definitely not. But I want all of us to learn to be better, for myself too. I'm always a student of learning for life. For life, there will always be things that I know that I mess up, but I try to do better, and that's what it's all about. That's why I do what I do. I don't do what I do because I think that it's fun. You guys, if anybody ever sees me get up on debates, I've heard people say, "Oh, debating abortion is fun." It's fun. It's not fun for me. I don't do this shit because it's fun. I do it because I care about every single one of you. I do it because I care about teaching and about learning, and I think that that's what we should all be striving to do every second of our lives. And your accountability shows that. And it's not overlooked. Pat, you're ratchet, bro. What do you say?
Bitch. First of all, I know that's first of all. I know I'm a slut. I know I'm crazy. I know I'm a fucking bitch. You ain't got to tell me.
But we love you though. But we love you. But we love you.
It's the balance for me.
Shut up.
and that's just my point, right? Learn, grow, heal, protect one another, love one another, understand one another.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
thank you.
I'm gonna head out of here. Thank you everybody for your love and appreciation, and I appreciate you all. Take care, Pat, Miss Jones, Raven.
Love you, bro.
Everybody.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Blackbird.
Wow, I'm actually hosting a pretty decent live. I'm actually proud of myself. At least 10%, because it started off ratchet and crazy. I feel like me and Miss Jones was slap boxing a little bit. We was doing the hood slap boxing real quick. Like, you want them rounds? You want them rounds, my nigga? Shit, I got you. But that's how it started off, and now we just like once the
Yeah,
indigenous kings and queens came in, now it's
totally
like
different vibe.
they got us together a little bit. They're like, you know what? Let's calm it down. Let's have an actual conversation.
Yeah,
And
and
I'm glad that it's going this way
mhm.
because it proves that the people who thought that indigenous and black people as a whole can't get along, that's bullshit. We absolutely can. We absolutely can have a space where we can speak each other's truths and have positivity at the end of it. I'm very shocked that it's me hosting it because I thought it would be Ebony or Julius or someone indigenous holding it, not me because I'm supposed to be on a break.
I'd love to address something really quickly about a comment that keeps coming through. Part of the reason, if I were to have the space to make excuses for my behavior, I got into everything on TikTok is horrible, and it's like toxic people and death threats and all kinds of terrible things. But I think one of the things that gets to me the most is people's take in the information that we're giving you. Don't I know that video had no nuance, and when it comes to delivering factual information or like political theory or news, there's room for you to Google things and fill them up. Please do not tell my story for me about my personal life, because if you look at my content, I'm not talking about my relationship. I'm not talking about my relationship here. And the reason why the womb lands thing took off so much is because the investment in people's personal relationships. So there's people in the comments right now asking, am I breaking up with Lance? Are you talking to Lance? I don't want to bring the energy back into a hostile space, but every time that happens, I get a little ping because your interest in that particular aspect of as we're shedding tears and talking about our trauma and our shared experiences. When you come in and talk about Lance and whether a tabloid sideshow that's happening while this healing space is taking place. This is a healing moment, and
Miss Jones, I don't want to interrupt you.
I feel like I've been interrupted like quite a few times.
I'm sorry. You're right. My fault. Go ahead, baby. I apologize. My fault. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the healing space, work on rewiring whatever it is about what attracts you to Lance, that you want to know more about his personal life. I know that they who will not be named made you think that you had access to him in that way. You don't. Stop asking about it. I appreciate the people who are looking out for me, but when you're a faceless person on an anonymous profile telling me to leave my boyfriend, that's just so there's just no room for that, and you're distracting. So I'm not going to go on and on about it, but it's like that is actually none of your business. And when I say that, people tend to respond. When you put yourself on the internet, it becomes our business. I'm like, well, then look at both of our content and find where I said anything about my relationship and gave it to you, because it's just people telling you, and then you just want to know more, and you're asking in the middle of this shared space. It's very strange. It's a very strange pathology. Please try to rewire the TMZ aspect of your connection to Lance. You don't have access in that way. You don't know who he is. Please just stop filling the space with that. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Hi, guys. How's everybody doing tonight?
What's up, baby?
Good. Hey. I'm going to try to go in as straight order as possible so I don't jump all over the place. I've taken today to kind of heal from the last 2 days, and then also kind of analyze the situation introspectively first, and then kind of just go step by step, looking at all the pieces that are closest to me and then working my way out. I'm going to start, I think, just speaking to you, Ms. Jones, as a friend. with the whole situation. Now, I'm a very cerebral person, so I tend to look at things very straight logic first before going anywhere else. And I think the initial posting itself, just from a cerebral place, was fine. But what I'm observing, and after sitting back and kind of like looking at the emotional end of it, what I find is that the harm caused outweighs the education that was not there, but kind of like behind the scenes. So there's a tactfulness to doing that type of content. I think when you do something that is supposed to be questionable, like what is that? There still needs to be some level of education somewhere to reach all demographics. I feel you can still be shocking and all that stuff and still provide adequate information for everybody that won't cause ignorance in spots to cause harm. And that's what that post, I believe, did. I believe it caused a hole, and I don't like holes. And the hole was ignorance to harm. Like I said, initially looking at it, I'm like, hell yeah, that makes sense. I know my history. That's correct.
Same here.
Yes, but and that's another point to make is that a lot of people looked at that from their perspective, right? And the Black perspective looking at that post is a simple swipe, got it, swipe away. Other people don't have the context related to it, and in my mind, I'd be like, well, then ask questions. But I got to pause a little bit and realize that people are human. Not every human is at the same level of anything, and so introspectively, that's not safe, right? It's not smart. I personally think you asked and said, what should I do with it? You should do exactly what the people that you hurt by it are telling you to do. It shouldn't be a question. It should be the people I harmed. What do they want me to do? That's your answer. The same way when we get harmed in our community and we say, do this, it's not well, I got to think about it for the other party. They just need to do what we're saying to do to account for that hurt, right? In regards to Lance, not on a personal level, I will speak generally. This is too much, hun. Like it's too much. I give people grace enough for logic to kick in, and once that logic kicks in, that's just it for you. Once it hits, and at this point, everything on the table, like all the pieces are on the table. That this is not somebody that rides with empathy, right? I don't believe that this is tough, but I'll be honest, I just gotta be honest, babe. I don't believe that this is somebody that considers the other person, specifically you, and the harm that could be caused to you.
Breezy, can you slowly say that again for the ops and the haters? Because I don't think they heard you. Raven heard you, but she wants you to repeat it for the ops and the haters again, because I don't think they heard that part. Go ahead, sis.
What part? I'm sorry. That he's my concern. You know how I roll. Like for me, Black women are top. You're the top. I don't care who is next to you. So if I don't want you to be harmed. And if somebody is placing you in a position consistently to be harmed, you come first. And the harm's just gotta go for me. And I don't mean it's gotta go for you, because you're a grown ass woman and you can make all decisions on your own, you're autonomous. But for me personally, the harm caused to you as a Black woman, I will literally erase anybody. I will erase my best friend. And there was harm caused.
If I didn't say anything, because the comments are critiques on what I should do.
Don't. But you see, don't worry about the comments.
I don't even read them when I'm talking unless.
Right.
I
Remember what I told you. Remember what I told you. I'm not gonna silence you.
But if I'm telling you that's okay,
No, I
carry on
understand. I understand. But remember, if
about my
I'm not gonna silence you, I can't silence them either. That's how I move on my lives. You get what I'm saying? I want you to have your voice. I want you to tell your truth, and I want you to speak your mind. But I'm not gonna silence people that are speaking their minds in the comment section. I can't do that. I'm not gonna make the same mistake that unfortunately Nuggets made yesterday, whether it was intentional or intentional. Does that make sense? I'm not gonna make that same mistake
Yeah,
that she's getting flamed for right now. I'm not gonna do that.
exactly.
So I want to
Um,
make sure that everyone is heard. That's it. I have to. That's my responsibility as a large content creator or a large black content creator. If you don't want to see the comments, just simply swipe right. That's it. That's it. I'm not silencing nobody. And for everyone that's getting muted and blocked, the moderators, it may be by accident and maybe on purpose. I don't know. I'm trying my best to tell them not to do it. I'm doing the best that I can. I'm not God. I can't tell a grown ass adult what to do. I can't. But I'm telling the moderators personally, I'm asking them personally, stop muting everybody and anybody. That's it. Go ahead, Miss Jones. I apologize.
okay, yeah. So yeah, when I'm speaking, I just want to clarify when I'm speaking and I say like that's enough, I mean enough for me. I do not mean enough for Miss Jones. She has self-agency. I cannot speak to her self-agency. I can only speak to mine, and mine is that's enough for me. Nothing to do with her and her decisions in her relationship at all. I'll be honest. I'm going to be straight up, and I'm going to give context to the live, and also feel where I feel a little bit. I feel a little bit slighted for the simple fact, and slighted. When I say slighted, I mean slighted by MW, and that is the fact that that live that we started, that we were in, was a space for Black women, and that is a space that we've cultivated for months on Nuggets page, to have a safe space for Black women to go and not get banned, and we could talk. Because her account is whitelisted, and we were rocking out in that live. Black women in the community would go in there to like 3, 4 in the morning and talk uninterrupted, like literally, we could say anything and not catch one ban. And we were in there after a very triggering, stressful live somewhere else. And we go to that space to decompress. That is our space to just like let it out before we go on with our life. And we went to that space to do that and hold one of ours accountable in that space, because I felt very much a weight on my chest because of verbiage that was used against you. And I'll go to bat for any Black woman, call out her name. Can't do it in my book. And I feel that by Lance coming in there, put me specifically. I can't speak on Nuggets, and I'm not gonna speak on Nuggets because I want Nuggets to sit and hurt right now. She needs to feel some heat. I'm not gonna clear anything up for her. As my girlfriend, you guys know how I roll. Extra heat if necessary. But for me, I felt like him coming in there put me in a spot where I couldn't move. I felt trapped. I felt trapped because I'm thinking to myself, this is our space. And now you come in, I'm talking about you, my friend, and like saying, like, anybody talk to my friend, like, you can't talk to no Black woman like that. And him coming in there, it felt like we had no choice but to let him in the box. I feel like and even like he's in the box, and I'm like, we getting gully talking about our own shit. And before I could even go left or right, I have people from a community that I adore coming in the comment section. And I'm like, holy shit, what do I do now? This is our space. We supposed to be talking in here. And now I'm having people from another community that I adore saying we must be heard. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do, because it's a white lady. Even though she's our friend, she's still a white lady. I can't tell them no. But like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm like sitting there like, I can't say no. I can't say this is a Black woman's space. Y'all gotta leave. I can't. I've done it before. I've done it before, and it literally from every other community I'll get. Well, you're anti this. Our voices don't matter. I made a post about reparations and going back to Africa. I had people flooding that, saying like, "What about us?" And I'm like, Black women deserve space. We can't have space. I've said it. I've scrimped it all year. I just want space for us. We had to fight this app. We can't even have our own lives. We had to go to a white woman live just to talk. And then I have people, and then I'm like, we texting, three of us texting, and Nuggets. And Nuggets like, well, what do you guys want me to do? Like, do you guys want to, you want to do this? Are you okay with it? And they're like, yeah, put us in. Our voices need to be heard. And I'm sitting in a place at that position where I'm like, I have no choice. My choice has been taken away from me. I have to give up my space. I have to give up all the women that are in here space to allow for this space that we're not even prepared for. And I'm not putting it all on Lance. There were choices to be made. And the choice was say no, deal with the heat from saying no. Say yes, deal with the heat from saying yes. And I think as Black women, we made the choice that we don't want to take the heat this time. We don't. We don't want to take the heat of saying no. So with Nuggets going through with it, not even wanting to, but us saying like, you can't, we're going to catch flames. We're going to catch flames. We catch flames. We call racist. You angry Black woman versus this. Why would you silence our voices here? We have white women doing that to us in our spaces, Black apology videos. We got white men talking about, and we like, this is a Black space. And then they call us all types of stuff. And we said, Nugs, you gotta rock. We had a Black woman getting in the box and tell the live. I'm the one that just texted Nugs not to drop. Because she was like, I can't do this. She's like, all I know how to do, my position here is for Black women. So it's not a safe space for anybody because I haven't prepared a safe space for anybody else except Black women here. And I want her to sit in accountability. So y'all do not for her sake and her growth, do not go soft on her at all. She chose the decision to say, well, okay, then I'll just go ahead and do it. But I don't feel like the position that we were placed in that group was fair for us to manage something that like we're not prepared for. And then the suggestion to just shut it off when all the anti-Blackness and all the anti-Indigenous shut it off. Still, it's like, okay, so if we cut them off now, it's like then we silencing them again. I'm like, I don't know what direction to go except just at this point, it's too late. It's too late, and it wasn't fair. Nuggets is a white woman. No white woman should be hosting any space like that. She should not be hosting any intersectional space like that. They're not equipped for that. They don't have the tools for that. Pat's live is running great right now because Pat is a marginalized individual. White women to handle that space? Absolutely fuck not.
And you know what? And I agree with Breezy, 1000%. If I had hosted that live, any person of color, period, hosted that live, it would have went way different. But because they saw a white woman host a live, everyone's gonna have their opinions, everyone's gonna feel a certain way, and everyone's gonna move a certain way. Right. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, Breezy? Does that make sense, Ms. Jones?
I also want to say
I'm not so sure it was that people behaved differently because she was hosting. I think it went a different way because as the host, there wasn't intervention at certain times.
And you know what? And you're right about that as well. I apologize, Raven.
Yeah.
You're right about that as well. Yes, she is correct about that. There was no
Yes.
and Breezy, I already said it earlier in the live, and I'm gonna say it while you right here because I know Nuggets is your woman, and Nuggets is one of my good friends because she drove hours to see me to make sure I was good. So I'm gonna make sure you and her can hear me say this. She should have never hosted that live.
No way.
And she should have ended it immediately once indigenous voices were silenced. She should have.
Yeah.
I wish.
Yeah, I wish, to be honest with you, I wish for everyone's sake that you could kind of understand, like, as soon as all of that craziness started,
right,
to put it on Nuggets, and I don't want you guys to go easy by me saying this, but to put it on Nuggets, not ending that live, would not be authentic and true. It wouldn't be authentic because there were Black women in that live literally telling her, you cannot drop them.
Black women, and Black women ended up being targeted from that shit.
We said don't. We said you can't. Don't do it. And she was like, I can't, like literally text, I can't do this. And we're like, you cannot. And I, in my truthful space, I honestly felt.
Right.
I felt what I felt every time we tried to have space, that we can't. And a lot of that live was like, this is still a Black woman's space, Black place, like it's our space. And like, I'm trying my hardest to navigate and give space and give space and give space. And specifically and I don't, to be honest with you, I wanted to talk without Raven in the box because I don't want us to engage in that way.
You're right.
Yes.
You are right. Now I apologize.
Raven, do you not mind just hopping right back in after I speak on our interaction?
No, I appreciate it because I don't want things to go sideways, and I do want
you're right.
Feel
I think
not
about
only
that.
But respected.
Right.
Yes.
Raven, I apologize. My bad, baby. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
No, it's 4 in the morning. Tired, and I did not think about that at all. Like, remember, I was on a break. Like, I'm still technically on a break. Okay, I was not prepared for any of this wretchedness. Okay, I was not prepared for this. Right, I was not prepared for this. And this just came out of nowhere.
It up. You're breaking it up is what you're doing.
Okay, this came out of nowhere. All right, I apologize.
No problem.
Raven,
and before I jump out,
go ahead.
Before I jump out, Jones, thank you for sitting in this. I appreciate that. And see you later.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Just one topic. Wakaru, I'm sorry if I pronounced this right, there in the comments asking why was it up to her to host though? Where was the other? I don't know why. And I don't know how to say this without coming off like I just wouldn't. I don't know how to say this, but for me, seeing that white face in my Blackness, knowing the strength and it's not a prepared space, I would tell her to either leave. I would not want to be in her space to conduct that. I wouldn't want to be there with her there talking to him. So I don't know, but for the sake of, I guess, urgency, maybe, that he was there and this was like contact because he decided to come in there with all his, by the way, Astrid and like jackassness. I'm sorry, Miss Jones, that was like that. He was like horrible. He was horrible in there. Like horrible.
It was bro shit.
Yes, it was really bad. And like I tried to navigate the logic so I could check him on the actual bullshit. It was bullshit to be checked. But he went so ham in there. And
We're talking about Modern Warrior, right? We have
Modern
to make
Warrior ended
sure.
up like he went so
Gotcha.
left, and I'm like the money stuff, and I'm just like, this is crazy to me. It's crazy. All right, so I'll leave that alone because I'll talk about the engagement being that the fact that this was a Black woman's space, and we kind of
Right.
just was like, just be like, okay, well, we here, so you have to listen, and we did not want to like shut it out and be like, no, you got to go, because actually we have done that. We have done that where people have come
Moderate.
in.
Stop muting and blocking people,
Yeah,
please. Right now, stop. That's a clear Native American person. Do not block them, please.
yeah.
Please. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, we have done that. We have actually, like I said, we will hosted a live and literally said, hey, anybody in here, we saw people coming in. We said, this is a Black woman's space. This is our place to decompress. If you are of any other community, just know that this is not a space for you. If you're from the Asian community, indigenous community, white community, this is not a space. So we're just giving you the opportunity to leave. And people would attack us, like attack us and say, you silencing me. What our voices don't matter here? What are you anti this? You anti this? And we're like, no, this is just a space for us. Can y'all please? And like we be pleading and begging, and we just like, this is just a boundary space. No, telling us no. And so it's like the same situation. It's like if I say no, we gonna get the same energy every time. We get the same energy. It's like we're not gonna be consistent. Like, and that's why we just wrote that was a white flag. I was like, you know what? It's a white flag moment. We just gotta rock. Like there's nothing else we could do. We can't say no anymore. We
It's
can't.
like our aren't they? It's like it goes in one ear, out the other if they're listening at all. It's like the idea of boundaries seems to translate for everybody, but somehow when we set up boundaries, we're not being inclusive, and it's like you do know that every single day of only our constant force to be inclusive, we
Oh,
are being
okay.
like
Got
we
you,
are
Mila.
actually
My fault.
distracted culturally, our gestures, our way of dressing, the way that we speak, we constantly see ourselves being mimicked everywhere. So then if you're going to take from us, then at least when we have space together, give us that. But we can't even have that. It's just a take and
Yeah.
take it.
That leads. I don't want to say too long, but that leads into my dialogue with Raven. So I don't. The dialogue you guys saw was not our first engagement. Oh, me and Raven have had. We're mutuals. We've had other engagements, other places. Now, in this dialogue, I'm in the middle box. Me, basically feeling like I don't this I can't be here no more. This is not my space anymore. And their dialogue that they were having was very triggering, right? In regards to, dynamics of our community and colorism. And I know there's other Black women in the live that are feeling this energy. So I have to not only tell people that I'm leaving, but I also have to educate people on why I'm leaving my own space, to give these people space to discuss whatever it is they need to discuss. And I start talking to say I have to leave because your engagement right now is triggering to me. But before I leave, I need to give education so that people can know how this could be harmful for others. And as I'm doing that, I'm told, well, how about then? By the person that I'm giving my space up to. And I'm also being told, as I say, well, no, I'm going to express my trauma so you can know why I'm leaving. And as I'm expressing that trauma, be told, that's not the same, that's not what that means. Head thrusted back with what I appear to see as attitude. And I'm like, this is my space. This is Breezy. And in my head, I'm like, I'm giving up my space and you giving me attitude. And the part that hit me the hardest is because I have had another live with a Black woman where we are talking about Black women issues that this same individual has come into and then hopped in our box. And we have quieted our Black issue to hear her trauma for almost 30 minutes and
Yes.
hear her cry
Yes.
and be silent and didn't speak at all and give up our space for her.
I'm
and
feeling
then
that,
say
Bridget.
that, pardon?
I said I'm feeling that. What you're saying, I'm feeling that. I don't know how to work the camera, so I've only
Sorry,
been in the
if you
box
don't
one
mind,
time.
if you don't mind, Bridget, is this Bridget Jones Period? Do you mind just
Yeah.
holding on 1 second? I'll be done in like 60 seconds. And we gave that space. And at the end of that, even though we could never experience what she could experience, right? We extended our empathy and compassion. And now I'm looking at the same person that I gave up space to before to cry, tell me to hop out then and thrust her head back at me. And at that moment, with that trauma, and then realizing I can't have space in my own space, I'm giving up space. In that space, I gave up space for somebody else. This is too much fucking space.
Mm.
This is too much space. As a Black woman, this is too much space. And for my community that was in there, that also consistently, all of them in there, are consistently giving up space. And that hit me hard. And then to have the person return after a couple of hours on what I'm thinking is going to be an apology after acknowledging and realizing who I was and what it was, to not be able to give that straight apology in almost 30 minutes, it just was so, it felt dehumanizing and invalidating as a Black woman. So the dynamics of that conversation was not just, oh, this person's just talking here. They're talking in a space that I'm giving up after we're already nervous ourselves. Like, what do we do? And then I've already given up space to this person before. It just hurt to the freaking core.
Mm.
It hurt. And acknowledging her hurt that she just expressed on that fact that she was coming in off of an abusive relationship. I was in a abusive relationship for 7 years myself that I just got out of. That gave me no space. So we all have triggers and traumas. I just want us to learn that out of those triggers and traumas, to respect people's spaces at the bare minimum. Just to respect people's spaces. And please, out of this, see humanity in Black women, because I was crushed in that moment. I was crushed.
I apologize, guys, for being a human being and being tired. My bad. I've been on live for like 6 hours. My
Yeah, I've
bad.
been on there with you. Could
I
somebody show
apologize.
me how to work the camera to make it turn around so I could? I've only been in the box like maybe one time before. I don't usually go live,
You
but
have
this
to hit the
was
multi. You have to hit the multi guest and then hit the camera.
hit the multi guest and hit the camera.
Yes. There
Okay.
we go.
There you go.
Oh wow! Oh, that scared me.
Oh,
You'll, um, thank you so much, Miss Jones. My name is also Jones, and thank you so much, Breezy. Everything that you said just really, really hit me about having a space that you probably looked for, prayed for so long, and you found that space, and then all of a sudden you found it being invaded. And it was just really hitting me. That's why I was like, kind of, I finally did put it on mute so I wouldn't interrupt what you were saying. But I just really appreciate what you just said and how you handled it about bringing it together with Black women and having our space. At the same time, um, I have Indigenous great grandparents, and I knew them personally. And I